Hello everyone, it's Todd Screama, CEO of Summit Funding. I wanted to share with you some ideas about delayed gratification. It's a skill that I have had since I was a kid, since I remember. But it's also one of the number one things that separates very successful people from unsuccessful people in any area. So I'm going to run through some different subjects and what a short-term idea or thought would be and versus how a long-term person thinks about it. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was about 13, I read a book called Shogun. Shogun is about Japan, and it's a super thick book, and it changed my life. And what the book is about is, or what it gives you insight into, is just how much long-term thought the Japanese culture has. Just to give you, a lot of people don't realize this, but that little tiny island of Japan until 4 years ago was the second largest nation in gross domestic product in the world. So little Japan, you know, until China took them out about four years ago, they were the second most productive country in the world. And so you got to look at that and say, what are they doing? What they do is really long-term thinking. So here's some examples. Physical fitness. A short-term person says, I'll sleep in and I'll miss it, and I'll make up for it tomorrow. Well, of course, tomorrow never comes. A long-term says, hey, I'm going to get up, and I don't feel good right now, but in 5 minutes I'll be fully awake. You know, which is, of course, what happens, right? Money. I deserve those $500 shoes, right? That's a short-term thought. A long-term thought would be, if I save $500 today, that's worth $8,000 when I retire. That's $8,000 more dollars in retirement. Totally different way of thinking, right? Education. I hate school and I'm not going, right? Sounds like my 5-year-old daughter. Then a long-termer says, you know what, I may not love education, but I'm going to get my degree because it's literally going to pay dividends for the next 30 to 50 years for me, right? That's a long-term thought. Marriage. I don't care what he or she wants. She's mean to me, okay? A long-term thought might be, when I serve my spouse, I get it back tenfold. So as long as I encourage her and give her what she wants, I'll get mine back in return whenever I want it. That's more long-term thinking. In the short term, we don't want to cave. We don't want to give in, okay? But long-term, it's the right thing to do. Work. I've got this example. 15 sales calls a week is way more than I can do. Maybe I can get away with just 5, okay? You know, a long-term person says, I'll do 15 sales calls every week and will always do that every week of my life because I will absolutely guarantee me success. So when you think about this, guys, when you think about short-term thinking and long-term thinking, there's almost not a subject where we shouldn't be thinking long-term. And that's just the I'll give you another example. I was on a business trip last week. I ate out every night. We had wine with dinner every single night. So I come back, I'm 3 pounds up, okay? My weight goal is 210, and once I go over 210, I stepped on the scale. On Monday, it was 213. I can't social drink this week. I've been having spinach shakes for breakfast. It's like, I got to get the 3 pounds off because you know what happens to the 3 pounds? It turns into 6 pounds. And that 6 pounds turns into 18 pounds, right? And then 22, and that's just how we get overweight. It's the same thing. Almost everything you could think of is the same thing, okay? So it's willing to go through the drudgery of the short-term, hey, I don't really love this, into I don't really love this, but I know long-term it's going to pay huge dividends. And that's the magic, guys. That's the magic. And I don't care what subject you're talking about, that is what works. Now, for some reason, our society doesn't really support that. It's, you know, have a coconut, we'll be happy. Take this juice for a week and you'll lose 10 pounds. You know, all those kind of ideas. None of that stuff works. So I wanted to do this video so that people could have some examples on what delaying gratification means. The beautiful part of this is that anyone can change this in a snap. It does not take preparation. It's just start making. When I'm faced with 2 decisions, and one is the harder one of the 2, I just pick the hardest decision. And that's how I control this. That's how I know that I'm always doing what's in the best long-term interest is I just take the hardest road, and that's the road I take. Okay? So guys, I hope you got something out of that, and I hope you take action with it. Thank you.